I want to ask you this. So you went ahead with the eHEX thing, and I really wanted to ask you this. So you made a comment in one of our streams when you were just here as a visitor a couple of weeks ago that eHEX was a god tier trade, in your words, at the prices that we're at the moment. If you could expand on that, if there's anything to add to what you already kind of added about, just the power of the T-share and what's going on there right now. And also, I long for these days. I don't know about you two, but I long for the days of June of this year when all people within this ecosystem fought about was the parity issue between HEX on PulseChain and HEX on Ethereum. Those were fun days. We saw Furu's face everywhere all the time. Now we've got Gary Gensler everywhere. It's a whole other ordeal. It's not as fun. But I wanted your thoughts on the parity issue, short and long term, because we are seeing every time we get a big dip in this ecosystem, and I'm just checking it right now. Yeah, so we're back to a little bit over 2-to-1 for PHEX to eHEX. But when we have seen some of these dips, we've seen it kind of band together and get down to about 75% difference or so. But yeah, tell me a little bit about why you would be so interested in eHEX when most people are against it right now. I may have just answered my own question, and kind of your thoughts on the parity, short and long term.
A lot of thoughts about it. The first thing that comes to mind is that this isn't the first time that you can go back and find data of coins that have been fudded by regulators, or a coin that's forked, for example, Bitcoin Cash or the Ethereum DAO fork from ETH, the original ETH Classic, into ETH 1.0, I guess you could say. Both of those are historical data sets, examples that you can go back and look into and see how amazingly well the forked coin performed or the not forked coin performed. And in both cases, in multiple cycles, you will see that although one coin typically overperforms for an extended period of time, the other one does make a comeback later on. And had you accumulated the cheaper one for longer, you would have not only had way more supply, but you would have realized similar, if not better, gains. But you just had a shorter window to capitalize on that. And the reason is because everybody that has eHEX has pHEX. It's the same common pool of users that got the same coins. So they're essentially the same coin right now in terms of the user market, the users who hold them. And it's going to take time for them to diverge away. So yeah, they might be at a certain ratio right now, 2-to-1, let's say. But there could be a time, again, like we've seen recently, where they do come closer to 1-to-1, but they'll never have to go. We don't have to live in this imaginary world where they'll be 1-to-1, because during some point in the cycle, the one will approach the other one, and there will be an opportunity to ratio trade. And it doesn't just happen with the hexes; it's happening with Pulse and PulseX too, where it's fluctuated between 4-to-1 to 2-to-1 back to 4-to-1. And if you just took that ratio trade, who cares about parity? That's not the debate. The debate is they're both going to have value. They both have the same users in both pools. And if there's ever an event where the Ethereum guys get their shit together and they fix this gas fee problem, you hear these rumors of next year that they're going to reduce gas fees by 8x, which means if you're paying $1,000 for like a 2-year stake, let's say, at the peak of the bull run, it's now going to only cost you $125. And I'm going to take the bet, and this is where I'm speculating, that the $125 will be well worth you staking it for 2 to 3 years.
I agree. I that's one of the things that I've always thought too. That people say how wrecked the fees are. I'm hoping that they'll fix them. So that's kind of where I stand.
Buy the rumor, sell the news too, right? So it's like, if there's any wind of that coming and then it happens, you don't think the eHEX price is just going to rocket?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a big thing that people are just pretty much assuming that will never happen. I mean, if you look at how the market's kind of reacted and how people are looking at it, they're just assuming ETH is never going to get their shit together. I mean, is it objectively better to trade and stuff on PulseChain right now? Absolutely. I mean, even then it would be, frankly. Obviously, that's even 125 is kind of a ridiculous price, but that doesn't render HEX on Ethereum useless or anything like that.
No, it doesn't. And we've seen more useless shitcoins with no utility do huge returns anyways, right? So it's like, people are going to buy the rumor, sell the news on that. It's not even a factor, right? Whether or not it's 125 to end a stake or $1,000, it's the fact that they're doing an upgrade and there's a trade there. Just like with testnet v3 this year, where we saw HEX run from 1.7 cents up to 13 cents. You know, that was buy the rumor, sell the news. You know, it caught a lot of us off guard, but that's what it was. You know, and here we are.